Alright guys, welcome back to another video of API for the pals. Now let's see, where did we leave off of last time? So last time we did a little bit of work on creating the PAL query, and we were able to get the set records page, the set current page number, and the basic functionalities. And then we set that in our index.ts. Right here, we made the endpoints for two things: the list of pals and the pals, individual pals. So yeah, we're doing so good so far, and let's see what we want to do next. Right, so let's actually start this up to see where we're at. Do and then we'll do this. All right, let's start our server up. And let's get our postman out. And let's just show you what we did last time. If it can load, just to make sure that this is actually up and running and that there's no new errors coming up. So if you do something like this, where we want maybe like 5 records per page, or maybe like 20 records per page, and then want to be on page, I don't know, 3, then we send it, and we should get back, yeah, at 3, we're on page 3, total 7 pages, and every single, this should only have 20 entries. So there's that. All right, now that we know that this is working like we wanted to, let's continue to see what else we want. The next thing that we want to take a look at is we want to be able to query what we want. And we did talk about that last time. And we were going to use probably JES path to query what we're looking for. But first, let's see what we want to query, right? Before we actually start coding it up. So let's just start with that. So let's start with something simple, just so we know how things are gonna look out. Let's start with the name, right? That's probably the first thing that you want to be able to query by. So let's look that up. JES path. JES path. Documentation. So we need some this is going to be useful for looking that up later, but we just want the documentation. Let's look at this, basic expressions. So A gives us A, selects which key in a JSON. Okay. And then we can do this to do sub keys. This is just querying keys. This gives us index if it was in a list. What we're looking for right now is how to find a an item with a key of name and value. Well, people just like compare values of the key. So we don't need most of this. This is like Python query, Python slicing to me, but we don't need that yet, at least. Okay, object projection. What is this? List projection defined for JSON array where an object projection is defined for JSON object. So create a list of values. So ops dot everything dot numargs, and then return only back to numargs. Okay. Flatten projection. Cool, cool, cool. So now what we're looking for, filter, is it? So we're saying machines, and we're saying the state is equal to running. It's close to what we're looking for. But it's not exactly what we're looking for, because this is, you know, that. Well, this is like for a list. What we want is for a dictionary. I guess we should convert this to a list instead of like this. Now that I think about it, right? Because this is including 001. I don't know if you know what we're talking about, but it might be a good idea to convert this into a list rather than a object. It should be an object, a list of objects rather than, you know, object of object. But I only did it like this because it's easier to index. But let's see if there's any way to avoid needing to do that. So let me see, let me actually just copy and paste this into here, just test if we can get what we're looking for. So if I just do this, how do I guess that doesn't actually test out what I want it to test. Seems like it does not want you. This is okay. I see. It's not letting me, you know, query what I wanted to query. It's not letting me test it, which is pretty annoying because I don't see the purpose of this if it doesn't let you do what you want it to do. Oh, there you go. Now it's doing what I thought it would do. Yeah, so that's not, it's still not like, it's just reloading. So if it's not legal, it won't do it. So let's look again. Maybe because this is too big and it'll take forever for it to do what I want it to do. No idea. But this isn't gonna. Alright, let me see if I can find a test playground. Because I don't think that was supposed to be used for as a playground. It is not legal. Despite that, that's all we wanted. Oh, so you had to put it in quotes. What if they want everything? But like it has to have name. I don't think that's a legal argument here. Cause yeah. Let's just see. Oh, okay, so this does work. Okay, so it looks like it wants quotes. No, it's still not working. Double equals. Yes, that does not look like it works like I want it to work. But if I just do this, then it kind of works. Yeah, okay, so that's not going to work like I want it to. Still want some filtering here. I guess there's no good way of doing the thing that I wanted to do, which is this, but that's kind of sad. Because, okay, hold up. I want filtering, but there's no way of filtering the way I want it to filter because this requires it being a list. The only way I can think of filtering it is by converting this into not a list. I mean, converting this into a list, which, I mean, it's doable. But it is sort of a pain to not make it consistent. Let's see if ChatGPT can do this. So let's say if ChatGPT can using only return, return object with name. Okay, it says it's using at. Is that how that works? I don't think that's how it works. Nah, that doesn't work. Okay, so that is quite annoying. So I think the best bet is just to convert this into an array so that we can query this. It is going to be slow though, which is what I'm afraid of. Unless there is a way. Let me keep trying just a little bit more to see before before I give up on that. Because this is already returning an array, right? And it's already giving me an object. So I don't understand why this would not work. Right? It's just saying we want question mark, and I want the name to be equal to lamball. Let's just do dot name. It's still not like doing what I want it to do. Don't 100% understand. That is pretty confusing because it looks like a game. Yeah, that looks to work. Seems like that broke it. So that is not valid, it seems. Is this just broken now? It looks like this just broke entirely. No, this is still broken. Unfortunate. I don't understand what this is though. So that works. If we do it like this. I don't think I want to do 2 queries. That would be too much. It's possible to get this through 2 queries, but I don't think it's a good idea to do it in 2 queries. But it is possible to do. All right, so I think the plan is just to convert this into an array, and that would be the best bet. It might be slower to query, but you know, it's the best bet. So let's just do this. We do want to convert this into this now. So how do we do that, right? So let's do this. Let's pull up our JSON file in Python so we can convert this into a more queryable format. That's gonna be our best bet, because otherwise it's gonna be a pain, right? We're not going to query anything and we're just not going to get what we want. Is there a way to... I don't think it's possible. Never mind. So yeah, let's just append the number into this category. So to do that, let's just grab here. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open, read it. It's already sorted, but we still want it to keep sorted. So we're gonna keep the sorted part. We're not gonna dump yet. We're just gonna print. And we're gonna do pp print so we can see better. What is going on? Okay. I'm gonna print f. Is there a way to read the entire thing? We don't know, but so let's just run this for now and see what it's gonna look like. Yeah. I think, is this only gonna read one expecting value? Oh yeah, this is only gonna read at certain lines. I wanna read everything. Well, actually, we don't need to do this. We just need to do pound stick. So let's do that. What am I doing? Why am I even... Oh, I wiped it out. I'm pretty dumb. Sure, I shouldn't do that. Should probably get rid of this one now. We just want to read it from here. Okay. Okay, so now we want to format this in a way that's usable to us. And to do that, we're going to want to loop through everything. Do we want to create... Yeah, we need to create a new thing here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a result div. Well, result. It's just me this. And we're just going to append this stuff to it. So then what we want to do is for pal and pal div with the result dot append. Before that, we want is pal, and we want dot items, don't we? But we can get the ID. And we want pal ID to equal ID. And then we do results. Pen pal. And then if we print this, that was not what we wanted to do. I want to print result. This doesn't look right. It's almost right. But I think we just need to change this to idea. And then we should be good. There we go. Look at that. So I think now it's going to be fine. And we can probably just now open this JSON dump, right? Dump out dict. Oh, I guess this case is results. Oh, 5-pointer. Oh, we wiped it out again. I don't want this to be here. What does this say? JSON.load crashed. But it shouldn't crash again. And we can probably just reformat this. And now we have a list that also has the ID in it. There we go. Oops. All right, so we can probably copy this over and paste it back in here. And now we can put this away and put it in here. And now if we want something like Anubis, look at that. Now this will break my code, so I do need to change some stuff. But before that, I want to know if it has the ability to check contains or like partial matching, right? My array contains I think this is all. No idea. What does at mean? Nothing at all. Alright, I got interrupted for a second. Let me get back into this. Flatten. Okay. What is pipe? Whoa. Okay, so I could have used the old way, because it looks like you can just pipe it. Bruh, what did I just do all that for then? Because it looks like you can just pipe. So let's do this. Alright. Let's Control C this. And change that back. And see if the pipe command works. I know being like roundabout and really just jumping around hoops, but I really do want this to work. Let me pipe it and say yeah, so that does work. Okay. That's pretty cool. But I do realize that I probably also... Nah, I think this is fine. This is fine. Only problem is we don't know the ID. When we query something like this, we don't really know the ID of what we just returned. So this is cool and all, but I actually think that the other way was better. I actually think that this is better, because then we're able to see what ID we're looking at. So in a sense, let's go back to our index.js, and we want to do this a different way, right? So we get the ID, pad it up, and then we want to see if something works or not. So let's go to test and let's look at how the thing works, the library works, right? So let's get James path imported, and let's start looking at what we can do with this, right? So let's look at what it can do. Is that the right syntax? Okay, we don't know what this even returns. Let's run this. I don't think we need this anymore. Let's just do TS node. Object. That doesn't tell me anything. Let's look this up. There is how to use this in JavaScript, right? If it can actually load. Seems like my internet speed is pretty bad right now. Huh. Okay. It's dot search. Well, as you know, it exists. The only problem is there's no type James path, which is kind of annoying. Let's see if we can get the type version of this. Might be able to just remove and then general. So let's try removing that. uninstall James path. JMS path. Now let's get the better version. We want it's no, let's just do like this. Now let's see if we can just import it from. Look at that. So what can we import? Let's do import all as. Oh, is that not the right way to do this? Okay, that's not the right syntax for that. Okay, there's a default, so I can just use default. Oh, okay, so that's not the problem. It's that I was resetting this, which is the problem. Dot search. There we go. So we want PAL.json. We want a string. In the string, let's just start with everything with an ID. Let's do this so we don't get screwed over. And let's just do, let's say let name or ID equal 001. And we can do tick. And we can just say ID. whatever this is, and we can, I think it returns something. It returns any, so we can't really, you know, do much about that. And finally, let's see if we can run this. Getting an error. Can I find? Oh, I do need an npm install. Okay, I guess I shouldn't have uninstalled that. Look at that. Okay, so this is working just how I want it to work. Though this isn't really efficient by any means, but luckily the Pokédex or the PAL deck isn't very large. And I don't think it'll ever be that large, so this should be fine for what we're looking for. But let's say that it doesn't exist. What does it return? Because we need to be able to handle that too. Empty list, got you. So this is exactly what we want. So let's just go over here. And we don't want too much of this logic. But yeah, let's do this. We also don't want this to look that ugly, so we're gonna remove that. And we're gonna put in this. When query by So how do I want to do this, right? Because this is gonna query everything right at the beginning. It's gonna do this type of stuff in the constructor. And we don't exactly want that, right? Okay, so this is hard capped at 2000. And number of records per page. We could like this. We could cap it right here. And then we can just put it in here. Number of records per page equal to I think that's supposed to work, but for some reason length of returning or maybe one object keys name. That could work. So now I actually just run this through PAL query. And we can give it a little taste of what we want it to do. Okay, so let's take a look at what we want this to do next. We have pals, which is a record, page data. So I think what we actually need to do is to only set it once we return the result. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'm really confusing myself here. Because this looks really, really weird. Down, 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 down. Yeah, I'm really confusing myself here. Because right now this is returning us page data, and by default, we don't really want all this extra junk, right? So if it's not paged, I think it's a good idea to just return the data itself. But if it's paged, then we use pagination. That does give you inconsistent return format, which is not a good idea. So I think that is a bad idea. So let's not do that. And the way that we're doing this right now doesn't make sense either, now that I think about it. Because the only change really is this part, right? And we were returning whatever this is, which looks to be completely wrong. We don't always want to return this dot page data, do we? No, we always do. So which is why we always want this to be called, right? So in theory, because otherwise it won't even give us the right data. Okay, I'm really tripping here. This is not a good design. I don't think this is a good design, to be honest. Because if you want to get result, we don't want this to look like this. And we're relying on this function because this is what's updating everything. And that just seems very awkward. Because that forces you to call this every time. Which is very confusing. We don't want this type of feature. I don't really know how to. See, a lot of the time I'm just sitting here pondering to myself, what am I trying to do? And then you get stuck. And you see that there's nearly nothing. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Okay. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Right? Because I don't even know what's paging necessary, but this paging thing really made this very complex. But the paging should only be called at the last step, is in my opinion. Otherwise, it's not going to be looking good for us. So let's just page at the last step. And yeah, okay. Set current page number is this. Set records per page is this. But this will... Should this always be called? This should always be called because of how it works. So this should be a private function in theory. Let's make this private and just have it always be called. When we return the result. Num records per page. And if that is the case, then this really isn't that much point of... Yeah, let's just do this. So now this should always work, and we never need to call this. Because it will always be called. Right? This should always be called. So it doesn't even matter. Oh, but we need to set this number record per page. That's a problem. Man, this is confusing. So, okay, so here's the problem, right? We need just the number to change. And then every other logic should be on its own. So this should be public. Return back. And what we need to do is set the logic for actually paging it versus setting just a number. So let's make another function call format records per page, which is just going to format. And we can just do this. And we can just set this to being private. And then you will always call this format records per page. That way it won't, because we don't want it to activate. We only want it to activate when we return it as a result. Right. And this isn't gonna mess with anything. I hope. So now we can do what we wanted to do. Dot. We don't need any of that. We just want to get result, which is going to give us this, right? And we know that we're going to get a page back. So let's get a page back. Actually, let's just do what will we get again? Get data. So data is going to be a page. And what does the page look like? That. So we're just gonna say, let's import. Oh, okay, we don't want to do that. We want to do this here. Right. So we want to query by ID. Right. Or no, a filter by ID. There we go. And what this is gonna want is just an ID. Do we have to make it? Never mind, we don't have to make it. It's just going to be a string. And all we're gonna do here is filter it by ID. We do gmf fast.search. And of course, because we're not importing it, it's looking stupid. You want to import it and not use requires. Requires is so disgusting. Pals. Is that what this is? Yeah. And we want to use this exact pattern. Let's go back to PathQuery because this is where we're supposed to do all of our queries. And we're actually going to get some strings back and we're just going to return it. Well, is what we have think about. I actually want to return that. Stop. This. That way we can continually do what we're trying to do. So in theory, now this should work. We're just gonna test it though. Right. So let's go to here. We're gonna do 001 let's do const pal query is equal to pal query or new pal query. And we just want to put in pals JSON. And now we want to do pal query dot filter by ID. And we want to put in ID. And then we want to console.log pal query dot get result. And in theory, if we GS node this, we should get back only one thing that we wanted. And just to make it even easier, right, we want to get the data. Ooh, yeah, okay. And then we just want to get the first element. But for some reason, data is becoming an object rather than. That is really, really weird. Because I don't know why it's giving me this. That is kind of weird. So let me take a look, right? We don't know why it's formatted like this, and we can just use the playground to see if we can fix that. So our thing right now just says this. So in theory, it's supposed to return a list, but for some reason, it's returning some wacky little thing here. Unless it's getting converted into a certain type. I see. So if we're looking at it right now, the reason it looks like that is because of this function right here. And we think that is an object rather than a list, which is why it's doing that. So overall, that's not what we wanted. But it's not actually that bad. I think we should just return a list instead. How about that? So say a page is this. And this will be called page data, to be honest. And so let's go back here. And we're going to rename this as well to page data. So because this is page, this is page data. And I'm going to get rid of this. I'm hoping that it renamed everything to page data. Never. What does that mean? We don't actually want that, do we? Whoa, what is this? What is this doing? Oh, I see what this is doing. We don't actually care about that. We just want page. Dot push. Right. And we don't actually want this to be a record anymore. It should be a list of PAL, which is backwards because it's supposed to be this, I think. And in theory, that should work. So let's try that again. Yeah. Okay. It's giving us exactly what we wanted. The only other thing that could be wrong is this, but I think that should be fine. So now if we just put it in here, PAL query, get data, and we want to do is results res dot send response send data 0. Of course, if it doesn't exist, then we need to, if data, if there's no data, then we want to response dot. We can probably get rid of this. If there's no data, what was that? That is 44 dot send PAL not found. And let's do node on oops. Node on test dot test. We don't test one. Okay. And let's see what's going on this time. So now if we use this and we put that title, save it, and send a request, we get Lamball. Same results. And it works just fine. 169. Should give us Lavender. That did not give me Lavender. That's not good. Okay, so it's not giving me the right thing. And I think there's a reason for that. It's because we have not queried anything. Dot filter by ID. So let's run that again. There we go. We got Lovander. And just to show you that if we screw up and we give it some non-existent thing, we get this. So this is exactly working how we want it to work. We fixed it. So now we need to fix this too though. So let's just see if this works right now as it is. And also, what is this? We're getting errors. Can I read? Probably 3-0. Oh, you know what? That's kind of weird. So let me do this first to see what's going on. Now it's not telling me anything stupid. But if I did this, yeah, send my request. Please. Whoops. Oh, it doesn't tell me that anymore. Okay, never mind. We just fixed it. Okay, so next we want to see if this is working. It looks like it's still working. And just to make sure that it is actually working, we want to say like 3 per page, right? It wants to be on page 1 or page 3, I don't care. Current page is page 1. That's not right. We want to be on a different page. So for some reason, it's messing up what page we're on. Which is not good. I mean, total pages, current page. The number is right, but we're not on the right page. I'm not really sure why. Records per page. If page, then we want to set. Let's parse the order here. You know, it shouldn't really matter. So I think it'll look nicer. I think the problem is our math could be wrong. Not 100% sure. Let's check again. Current page, we're on 1. So let's go through our code logic. We put in 3 versus the page data dot length. Oh, page data dot length. No, that should be right. And then we have max between 1 and the number that we just put in. So let's console log this. It gave me 1, and console log the before. What? It's giving me 1 before and after. That's not right. Oh, we want this first. So now let's see. 3 1 3 1. Yeah. So somehow, some way, this math is somehow completely wrong. And it's always setting me at 1. Which means that this dot page data dot length is not correct. That's what I'm thinking. It's possible that we need to... No, this should already have happened. So it's calling this first, and then it's calling that. So in theory, I think the problem is page dot data dot length. So let's do this, and let's see what is going on. Yo, I'm getting nothing. What? I am calling set vectors per page for... Oh, I get it. It's because this isn't formatting the page yet. So it's causing this to happen. So we don't actually want this anymore. We want... We want to calculate this somehow, because this hasn't happened yet. Okay, so we want pals dot this dot pals dot length, right? Which doesn't actually exist because pal is and I think that this is no longer a record, right? I think this is more of a list of pal. Oh, I can't. I have no idea what's going on. What am I doing? Because this makes no sense right now. I changed a lot of things, and it's kind of breaking all my structures. So we're passing in a list of pal now. Which means that when we format, we want pages of page data. And then we want I equals 0. We want to loop through every single pal and then just push them. Right? Right? Work. Right, I don't really know what the heck is going on. I just don't really know why I'm doing this. Okay, so here's what we want. We want to for loop through everything. For while I less than this dot length page data. We want to push pals. We actually don't even want to push. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So you want this actually. And we don't even want this anymore because we just want this pals and that should in theory make sense. There we go. So now if we run this, we're in business, guys. We're in business. Look at this. It's finally working. Dude, all I did was convert the data structure to file object structure. And that took that much effort. That must just be I definitely need some commenting. Right. So how do you do Java doc, JavaScript documentation, bro? What do we have two of these? Script doc. I don't think there's a doc string in JavaScript, but oh, okay. So if I just do look at that. Of records per page. Number, which will tell me clicks how into pages. Is there a way to make this stand out? Splits this .pal into pages. Into page data. Number of page current page number. That current page number. ID of pal. Filter this pal ID. We actually don't want to say that because we, as a user, you don't really care. You don't really care about the internals, right? So stuff like this shit are all private. Is it this or is it here? List of PAL objects or array of PAL objects. That's the constructor. Query things. PAL. All right. The result It returns a returns data did I do this? Okay. I think that's pretty good. I think we did pretty good so far. All right. So now we have fixed most of everything. I think we can just leave this off for next time. Today, all we did was really convert our old format into a new format that's more queryable. And we fixed some issues and added a little bit of documentation. It's not a lot, but hey. And yeah, I think next time we'll take a look. We'll do more querying and hopefully get more features put in. Definitely want to add more query parameters to our object. Right. Yeah, that's what we want to do next. So yeah, for next time, that's what we're gonna do. All right, guys. It's time for me to head out. So see you next time.